It was a sunny day at the Time Treasury Museum, and the three cousins, Jenna, Thomas, and Ben, were having a great time playing with Kiki, their uncle's pet dodo bird. Kiki roamed freely through the museum as long as it was closed. As they tossed her treats and giggled at her silly antics, the children noticed something strange. The magic singing bowl they had brought with them was glowing and humming. "Guys, look at this!" Thomas called out, pointing to the bowl. The three friends crowded around the bowl, peering inside. Suddenly, they saw a step pyramid appear in the bowl. At first, they thought they were being transported back to ancient Egypt, but as they looked more closely, they noticed that the pyramid was surrounded by lush vegetation, not sand dunes. "This isn't Egypt," Jenna said, pointing to the different surroundings. "I wonder where we're going this time?" At that moment, they noticed a mural that looked similar. Jenna looked at a plaque next to it. "Tenochtitlan, capital of the Aztecs," it says. The three cousins exchanged excited glances, eager to explore this new time period. Kiki also squawked excitedly, but Jenna held her back, fearing that the adventure ahead might be too dangerous for the flightless bird. Thomas snapped against the singing bowl, and before they knew it, they were drawn into a vortex and transported through time. When they opened their eyes, they stood in the center of an ancient Aztec city, surrounded by people dressed in colorful clothing. They looked around in amazement, taking in their new surroundings. Some of the Aztecs kept their distance, wary of these strange-looking outsiders, while others were muttering prayers. The children felt an almost electric energy in the air, as if the very city itself was alive with excitement. Suddenly, a man dressed in a white robe and a feathered headdress rushed toward them. "Welcome to Tenochtitlan!" he exclaimed as he bowed down before them. "I can see you are messengers from the gods. My name is Cahal. I'm a priest. Please follow me to our king so that I may present you to him." The children looked at each other in confusion and surprise. They tried to explain that they were just ordinary children, but Cahal wouldn't take no for an answer. "You must come with me," he said firmly. "You are indeed messengers of divine power." The children hesitantly followed Cahal through the city, still unsure what was going on or where it would lead them. As they walked, Cahal explained why he believed they were so special. "It is clear from your appearance that you are unlike anything we have ever seen here before. I am certain that your presence must be a sign from above." The children were nervous, but they were also eager to see what would happen next. They walked past towering stone structures, intricate carvings, and colorful murals depicting battles and religious ceremonies. They reached a massive square, filled with people of all ages. The sounds of music and drumming filled the air, and the scent of burning incense mixed with the smell of smoke from the massive pyramids at the center of the square. "This is where the king holds court," Cahal said, gesturing to the pyramids. "The gods have answered our prayers, and your arrival is a great honor." The children felt a mix of thrill and fear as they followed Cahal up the steep steps of the pyramid. At the top, they saw a man dressed in glittering gold and feathers, seated on a throne carved from stone. His gaze was fierce. "Greetings, messengers of the gods," the king said, rising from his throne. "I am Acamapichtli, ruler of Tenochtitlan. Were you sent to help us in this time of misery?" He looked stern but hopeful. "Your Majesty," Jenna began slowly, "we are not gods, but travelers from a faraway place." Acamapichtli's eyes narrowed, and for a moment, the children feared that they had made a mistake. "The people of my city face a great crisis," Acamapichtli said with concern. "The land does not provide enough food for all, and the crops are failing in the Chinampas. The Chinampas are small pieces of land on the edge of Lake Texcoco where we grow our crops. Usually, we need the gods. Will you help us?" The children looked at each other. They were not gods, but they did have knowledge from their time that could potentially help the Aztecs. Well, we'll do what we can," Thomas said. Acamapichtli nodded. "Together, we will save our people and our land." The children were given a grand tour of the city. Everywhere they went, they were greeted with cheers and applause. People offered them exotic foods and drinks, bowing in reverence. "Oh, whoa, they really think we are gods," Ben whispered. "Yeah, we are like kings," Thomas exclaimed, smiling broadly. He strutted ahead of the others, not paying attention to his path, and tripped over a few rocks. Jenna and Ben giggled softly, but despite the cheerful mood, the weight of their responsibility was heavy on their minds. "We have to find a solution," Jenna said, pacing back and forth. The entire city is counting on us." After a while, the children had an idea. They wanted to make a basin to catch rainwater. So they called for help and got stones to build it. Aztecs gathered to watch as the basin grew higher and higher like an inverted pyramid. It wobbled and swayed until finally they looked at each other proudly. They had done it. But then, they heard a deafening crash behind them. "Oh no!" Ben cried. The basin had collapsed. The children stood beside it in despair, while the spectators turned away in disappointment. A woman stepped toward the children and introduced herself as Xochitl. "Excuse me, young travelers," Xochitl said with a soft smile. "I couldn't oversee your struggle. I have an idea that could solve the crisis in our city. The lake has two sides. To the east, the water is salty and brackish, but fresh rainwater flows from the west. If we could divert the fresh water with a dike to the fields, the yield of the chinampas would increase." The children listened closely and were impressed by her idea. "Why didn't you suggest this to the king yourself?" Jenna asked. "I've tried speaking to the king and his advisors," Xochitl said, her voice filled with sadness. "But as a woman, I am not taken seriously, and my words fall on deaf ears. I understand if you cannot help, but I felt compelled to share my idea with you." The children knew that Xochitl's idea was the solution Tenochtitlan needed. They promised to tell the king immediately. When they presented Xochitl's plan to the king, he was overjoyed and praised the children for their help. But Jenna objected. "Your Majesty, the genius of Xochitl will save you. It was her idea to channel the fresh water from the lake to the fields." King Acamapichtli was taken aback by Xochitl's knowledge and wisdom. He immediately ordered the construction of the dike, and Xochitl was hailed as the true heroine of Tenochtitlan. Then, it was time to say goodbye. The children hugged Xochitl and thanked her with warm smiles. But as they were about to leave, Cahal appeared. He lowered himself in a bow and removed his headdress. "Please take this as a token of my appreciation for what you have done for my home. You have shown us to listen to everyone and to work together," he said, handing the headdress to Jenna. Its colorful feathers swayed gently in the breeze, making a rustling sound. With grateful hearts, the children left Tenochtitlan. They landed back in their own time, and the museum was just as they had left it. Kiki the dodo ran over to them, cawing with excitement. The children laughed and hugged her, thrilled to be back. "Hold still, Kiki. We have a special present for you," Jenna said, as she gently placed the headdress on the bird's back, and the bird danced around in delight. Kiki squawked with pride and joy, loving her new, gorgeous green feathers. And the children were already looking forward to their next adventure at the Time Treasury.